Hello children, how are you all? Welcome to another session of digital classes. Children, what do you see when you go out in the night time? It will be dark, the sky also will be dark, but you can see shining stars and a bright moon in the sky. Isn't it, children? You can see such a pleasant view if you stand near a water body. A dark sky with shining stars and a bright moon. But have you observed in the sky during a sunrise and a sunset? What do you know about celestial objects and their movement? What are the celestial objects that we see in the sky? Are the stars moving? Do you see the same stars at the night time and in the daytime? So children, here you can see a bright moon. These are the different phases of moon from a new moon day to a full moon day. Have you ever think why we see different shapes of moon changing from shapes of moon from a new moon day to a full moon day? Do you see the same stars during the summer and in the winter nights? What is the shape of the moon? Why does it change? Why doesn't the sun change its shape daily like the moon? Where exactly is the sun situated in the sky at the noon time? Why does the shadow of a tree change from the morning to the evening? So these are all the questions we need to think, and we will be learning the answers for these questions in this lesson. So what is the name of the lesson, children? Stars and solar system. So let us start our lesson with a small activity. We will be observing the changes in the length of the shadow. In this picture you can see this girl has selected a place in her school garden. Even you can do this activity in the school or near your home. You can select a place which is empty. It should not have any tall objects near it. Neither a tall tree, nor a pole, nor any tall object standing. So the place or the ground should be empty. Now you have to select a place and then mark 4 poles. Take a stick which is 1 meter long. You draw the boundary by joining these 4 sticks by a rope, and please start this experiment or the activity from the early morning. So it will be better if you do the setup exactly in the evening, and then you start seeing the shadow of the stick from the early morning. You have to record your observations in the table. So let us observe the changes in the length of the shadow, and you try to think for the answers of these questions. When did you observe the longest shadow in your activity? How does the length of the shadow change with the time? Illustrate your answer with the help of some diagrams. Draw the diagrams of the stick and its shadow for 5 different times. So you have to observe the shadow of the stick at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 noon, 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. At what times do you think the shadow would be the longest, children? Where is the sun situated in the sky at noon? Where does the shadow of a stick fall at that time? Do you think that your shadow will be the same on all the days at the noon? In which direction does the shortest shadow of the stick fall in your activity? So you do the activity and try to answer for these questions. So children, the shortest shadow cast will be a vertical object on the ground, always falls in the north-south direction. You can use this fact to locate directions. And the time when the shortest shadow occurs is called as the local noon time. That means here, remember children, as the sun will be exactly on your head by the noon time, that is exactly 12 p.m., then that time is called as local noon time at that place. If you continue your experiment for a full year, you will find that the position of the sun changes from day to day as well. So let us understand why did the position of the sun change from north to south. So understanding the north-south movement of the sun. Now here this girl has selected a hill from where she can see a sunrise. You can also do this activity, children. She is drawing this scene on a paper. Even you can select a place, take a mark of a hill or a long tree or a tall house so that you observe the sun rising exactly behind that tall tree or a tall house or a hill. So this girl has selected a hill from where she can see the sun rising, and now she is drawing the picture. Answer these questions if you are doing this activity. Does the spot of sunrise change? If it does, in which direction does it seem to move? When the sun looks like traveling towards south of the sky, it is called as Dakshinayanam. And when it looks like traveling towards north of the sky, then it is called as Uttarayanam. Children, Dakshinayanam means the sun travels from north to south. And Uttarayanam means the sun travels from south to north. So when the girl draws the image or the picture of the sun rising, she will be getting different positions of the rising sun. By this she can say, or if you are doing the activity, even you can note that few months the sun rises from the north and few months the sun rises from the south. If the sun rises from the south, not exactly south, children, the sun always rises from the east, but it slightly moves towards south, and that movement of the sun towards south is called as Dakshinayanam. And if the sun is slightly moving towards north, then we call it as Uttarayanam. Was the sun appear to travel towards south or north during the time you made your observation? Did you observe this, children? Now let us make our own sundial. What is the name telling us, children? Sundial is a clock. In olden days we did not have clocks, so they used to make their own sundials by which they used to note down the time. Here we are using the shadow. In the first activity we have seen that the length of the shadow changes, the position of the shadow changes. Why did the shadow change, children? Because of the movement of the sun. The sun rises from the east and it sets in the west. The same way the shadow also, you can see it will be longer in the morning times and the evening times, but it will be shortest in the noon time. So we have seen that the position of the shadows change, and that will help us to find out the time of that particular region. So this sundial can be made by using a cardboard. So first of all, you will need to cut a right angled triangle ABC from a sheet of cardboard. So here we have taken ABC, a sheet, and we have cut a triangle out of it. Now here you can see angle A is 90 degrees. So children, angle C of the triangle should be equal to the latitude of your city or town, and angle A should always be 90 degrees. So when angle A is 90 degrees, children, angle C should be the latitude of your city or town. For example, you are staying in a place like Medak. The latitude in degree north rounded to whole number in Medak is 18 degrees. And if you are staying in Mehboob Nagar, it will be 16 degrees. And if you are staying in cities like Rangareddy, Hyderabad, Khammam or Nalgonda, then angle C should be taken as 17 degrees because the latitude rounded to the whole number there in these places is 17 degrees. And in villages like Adilabad, you can see it is 19 degrees. So depending upon the latitude, you are taking angle C. So angle C of the triangle should be equal to the latitude of your city or town, and the angle A should be 90 degrees. Now place your board with the triangle on a level ground. Now here we have selected a board and then we have pasted this triangle on the board, and you have to place it on the ground where you have to see that the sunlight exactly falls on the triangle. Now coming to the base BC. Base BC of the triangle should be placed in the north-south direction with the point B facing north and point C facing south. Now you can observe that this is base BC, base B is pointed towards north and base C is pointed towards south. So children, fix your cardboard triangle vertically in the middle of a rectangular wooden board. Now this you can see is a wooden board. Now here we have exactly pasted the triangle on a wooden board. Now glue strips of paper along both the edges of BC and the wooden board to make the triangle stand erect. Now you can paste this here by using the glue strips so that it stands erect. The triangle ABC is standing erect on the wooden board. Now at 9 in the morning, what happens? Now in this picture when you are seeing here, ABC is a triangle which is standing on the base BC, and C is pointed towards south and B is pointed towards north. And when you are observing this picture, this here is east and this direction is west. So where from the sun rises, children? From the east. And so when the sun rises, you can see the shadow of this falling, and you just have to draw the shadows of this on the wooden board. So at 9 in the morning, what happens? You will get a shadow. So you have to draw a line along the shadow of the side AC on the wooden board. Write the time alongside the line. So on the wooden board, when you are drawing the shadow of side AC exactly in the 9 in the morning, then you have to note down the time also. Write the time alongside the line. Now draw lines of the shadow of side AC at 1 hour intervals. So when you have started early in the morning at 9, for every 1 hour you can observe the position of the shadow changing, and you have to draw the line on the shadows and you have to mention the time. Through the day till sunset, whole throughout the day you have to observe the shadow of AC till the sunset and mark the time for each line. Now your sundial is ready. Remember that base BC of the triangle in the sundial must always be in the north-south direction if you wish to read the time exactly. So children, if you observe this, the base BC is always pointed towards, here B is always pointed towards north and C should always point towards south. And now after observing for the whole day, here these are the markings we have done. For every 1 hour you have to draw the line according to the shadow and note down the time, and that will give you the clock. So 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock if you observe, the shadow will be the shortest, and again 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, like that. Sun sets at 6. You will be getting a sundial on which you have marked the time based upon the shadows from 9 o'clock to the 6 o'clock in the evening. Children, have you ever observed the movement of moon in the sky? Does the moon appear at the same point at a particular time every day? Is the shape of the moon same on every day? Have you observed the moon, children? Children, on a new moon day, you will observe that you cannot see moon in the sky. And again, after 15 days, if you observe it, it will be brightly shining, isn't it? Why did the moon become dark on a new moon day? And again, why did it shine on a full moon day? Have you ever thought about it, children? So, you have to draw the phases of a moon in this activity daily for 15 days. From a new moon day till a full moon day, you have to observe the sky drawing the phases of a moon. So, observe this girl, children, what is she doing? For 15 days, she has drawn, starting from a new moon day to a full moon day, she has drawn all the phases of a moon in her drawing book. So the same thing if you do, you have to start from Amavasya, that is a new moon day, when the moon first appears in the sky. In the same way, Every day locate the moon in the sky at the time of sunset or immediately after sunset. And then record the date and the time of the moon. And draw a picture of the moon as you see it on that day in your notebook. So this is the activity given in your textbook, children. Please do it. Then observe the phases of the moon. Observe the moon for a few days before full moon. Full moon day means what, children? Paurnami. To a few days after it also. So start from Paurnami and then keep drawing it for next 15 days till the new moon day. Now locate the position of moon in the sky at the time of sunset before Paurnami and note the time and position of the moon in the sky at that time. After Paurnami, note the time at which the moon rises, comes in the eastern sky, and also note down the date. So after Paurnami, what you have to do, children? You have to note down the time at which the moon rises and also please note down the date. Draw the pictures of the shape of the moon on each of these days. Then you will observe that you also have to calculate the number of hours between one moon rise and the next moon rise on the number of hours between one moon setting and the next moon setting with the help of these observations. So how many hours lapse between one sunrise to the next or one sunset to the next, children? We have seen 12 hours, isn't it? Early morning in the 5:30 when sun rises, exactly at 6:30 the sun sets. So is the time period same for sun and the moon to appear at selected position after completing a cycle in the sky every day? Yes. As soon as the sun sets, you can see moon rises, and as soon as the sun rises, you can see moon sets. Actually, moon will be there in the sky. The only thing is, when in the night time the sun's light is not there, you can see a bright moon. As moon is a non-luminous body, it will not give its own light. It just reflects the sun rays, and that is why only in the dark you are able to see a bright moon. But in the daytime also you can find the moon. But only thing is, it is not reflecting the light as bright as it does when it is night time. So does the moon appear at the same point every day during the time of the sunset? No, it will not be there in the same position. If you keep observing for 15 days, the position of the moon also keeps changing. By this, what did you understand? We understood that moon is not stable. It keeps on moving from one place to another place. That means what is it doing? Moon is a natural satellite. It keeps revolving around the earth. And that is why the sun rays also, when it is falling on the moon, they keep changing. So what is the shape of a moon, children? Is it the same every day? No, we have seen that the shape of the moon keeps changing. So the shape of the moon changes night after night. These changes in its appearance are called as phases of the moon. The time period taken by sun to complete a cycle in the sky and come to a selected position is almost the same every day, and it is about 24 hours. That is one day. Isn't it, children? When the sun rises exactly at 5:30, again next day also at 5:30 it will rise. The same way also, moon also, when it becomes dark, you are able to see. And again, when can you see shining brightly in the sky? Again the next day. That means, what is the time gap in between? It is 24 hours. So whereas moon takes about 50 minutes more than a day to complete the cycle, and which results in the phases of a moon. So for a moon to complete one whole revolution, it takes 50 more minutes. So for a day to change, that is for one rotation of Earth takes 24 hours, and that is why sun rises exactly after 24 hours, because Earth keeps rotating, and for one rotation the time taken is 24 hours. But for moon, for completing one revolution, it takes 24 hours and 50 minutes. So here children, in this activity we will be studying about, let us go to the next activity. In this activity we will be studying about observing the shape formed by sunlight on a lemon. You can do this experiment also, you can do this activity also at home children. You just have to take a lemon and pierce a needle or a nail and observe the lemon by keeping it exactly between the sun and your eyes, and observe how the sun rays are falling on the lemon. And by doing this experiment or activity, you will be seeing that as the lemon is spherical, the sun rays will not be falling evenly on the whole lemon. So what happens children? When the sun rays are falling directly, this side which is facing the sun will be bright, and the side of the lemon which is exactly opposite, that is which is facing towards your eyes, see here it has become dark. The same thing happens with the spherical moon. So take a yellow lemon or a white washed clay ball and pivot it on a long needle or on a spoke of a bicycle. Hold it up towards the moon that you are standing in the sunshine when you do this activity. Observe the shape formed by the sunlight on the surface of the lemon. Is there some similarity between the shape formed and the shape of the moon? Yes, the same thing happens. Now answer these questions after doing that activity children. Why does the shape of the moon change? So here you are also taking a ball, wrap a ball tightly with a white handkerchief or with a piece of white cloth. Assume this as your moon and hold this ball in front of your eyes in a bright sunshine and turn around yourself. Observe how the shape of the illuminated part of the ball changes. Here also, when you are taking a ball, covering it with a kerchief and holding it tightly exactly in front of the sun, then the sun rays will only fall on the side of the kerchief which is facing the sun. This part of the kerchief or the ball will be bright and this part of the ball will be dark because the sun rays are mostly falling on this part of the moon. And from here if you are observing, you will be seeing the different shapes because of the different dark regions formed. The same thing happens with the moon children, as moon is a big spherical ball present very high in the sky, and then the sun rays when they fall on the moon, the person who is observing from the earth will see the different shapes of the moon, and that is called as the phases of the moon. So children, does sunlight fall on half of the ball at all times? No, isn't it? You have seen that always the shape of the ball has kept on changing because the light always falls differently. Is the shape of the illuminated part of the ball viewed by you in all positions during the rotation? No, isn't it? We kept on rotating the ball, we kept on rotating it, and we observed that the sunlight keeps on falling on the ball differently. You also can move and observe how is the sunlight falling on the ball and how the bright part of the ball is seen. So this is the picture in which you can see the shapes of the moon have changed. Children, this is exactly the way which the people can see from the earth. If you look at this picture children, here this is last quarter or half moon, and now if you start from new moon, new moon means it's a totally dark moon. You cannot see moon on new moon day. And now if you observe, this is crescent moon. Crescent moon means you can see the crescent shape moon. And now this part, in this part you can see half part of the moon. So we call it as first quarter moon. And slowly when the sun rays fall more brightly, you can see it has become more brighter, and then we call it as waxing gibbous moon. And now the sun rays have totally fallen on the moon, and now this has become a full moon. We can observe the moon as a full bright ball. Slowly revolving around the earth, the sun rays fall differently, and now only on the 3/4 of the moon sun rays are falling, and on 1/4 of the moon the sun rays are not falling. So this is called as waning gibbous moon. And now again this is the last quarter half moon, and this is waning crescent moon, and now slowly you can see 3/4 of the moon becomes invisible, and slowly the total moon, the whole moon becomes invisible, and now this is called as new moon day. That means here the sun rays are not completely falling, and so we call it as new moon day, and here the sun rays are completely falling, and so we call it as full moon day. So it takes around 30 days for a moon to become a new moon again. So children, let us observe this. The largest circle in the middle is the earth. Here children, the largest circle here it is the earth, and the smallest circle around it represents the moon in different positions. You can also see the different phases here children. This is the new moon day and this is the full moon day, and you can observe there are totally 8 phases of the moon, starting from new moon to full moon and again to the new moon. So children, the sun rays falling on the moon illuminate half its surface in all the positions, isn't it? However, we cannot see the entire illuminated surface from the earth in all the positions. Then in some cases, we can see entire illuminated surface, while in others, we see only a part of it. In one particular position, we cannot see the illuminated surface at all, and that is called as a new moon. The shape of the moon we see is nothing but the shape of the illuminated portion visible to us, moon on which the sunlight is completely falling. So here in this picture you can see this is the day on which the sunlight is completely falling on the moon, and so this is a full moon. And here only on 3/4 part the sunlight is falling, and so only 3/4 part of the moon is visible. And slowly when you observe here, this is the crescent moon, and when the sunlight does not fall on the moon, then we see only a new moon. So that is why moon reflects light and it looks so beautiful in the night time. So the day of the new moon is called day 0. As I told you, it takes around 28 days to complete one cycle. In this position, the illuminated surface is not at all visible from the earth. So the moon cannot be seen from the earth. 4 days later, when the moon is in position 2, a small part of its illuminated surface is visible, and that is called as a crescent moon. So on day 7, the moon is in position 3, and so more of its illuminated part is visible from the earth. After 14 days, entire illuminated portion is seen, and that is called as a full moon day. So children, subsequently the moon appears smaller with each day as it passes through the positions. Day 18 or day 6, day 7 or day 21, day 8 or day 25, and after 28 days the moon is once again in position 1, that is Amavasya or a new moon day. So children, although half the surface of the moon is illuminated every day, we cannot see the moon on new moon day, since the illuminated surface is on the side opposite to the point of the observation on the earth. So on full moon day, the situation is reversed. You can see the whole moon because it is completely illuminated. Children, the sun and the moon must be on the same side of the earth on a new moon day, and they are on opposite sides of the earth on a full moon day. During the phases in between, we see different shapes of the moon, isn't it children? Now let us talk about the surface of the moon. What exactly is present on the moon children? And when astronauts landed on the moon, they found that the moon's surface was dusty and barren. There are many craters of different sizes. It also has large number of steep and high mountains. So some of these are the high and the highest mountains of the earth. But the moon has no atmosphere like that on earth. So we'll be able to hear any sound if you talk. And can you exist on moon? No, because of the different atmospheric conditions. So if you observe moon, it will be seen like this. You can see it is a bright body, celestial body. It is a natural satellite of the earth. You can see so many craters on the moon, and you can see that even high mountains are also present on the moon. So Neil Armstrong was the first scientist to land on the moon. So children, surface of the moon is barren and it does not have any water, and that is why you cannot live, and it has 6 times weaker gravitational force when compared to earth. So can you walk properly? No, it does not have a proper atmosphere also children, and that is why you cannot hear what you are talking, you cannot stand properly. And if you are weighing 30 kgs on the earth, that means the earth gravity is more, and the same girl, if she is taken on the moon and if her weight is checked, She will be only 5 kgs. Why? Because it has 6 times less gravity than the earth. The moon has 6 times less gravity than the earth. Okay. So let us recall what we have studied, children. We have studied about the shadows, we have studied about sundials, we have studied about surface of the moon. So answer these questions, children. Draw the different phases of moon. Write about the surfaces of moon. Write about the natural satellite of earth. Please download the worksheets from SCRT website, children, for better learning and good practice. I hope you have followed the lesson, children. We will be learning about the stars and the solar system in our next topic. Okay, children, see you in the next session. Thank you.